Hello and welcome to We Never Met, the podcast where I have an interesting stranger on every single week. And today we have...
Carissa.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It is frigid outside. It's freezing.
It is
in
below
November.
20.
So once it gets to a certain level of temperature, I feel like it's all the same though to me. At least, are you from?
Yeah. So I'm from LA. So it is very much, Chicago's very different from LA. Yeah. Otherwise, I didn't own a big coat until I came here.
Yeah.
I didn't really wear jackets. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in LA though, when it gets into the winter time, you still wear jackets. I mean,
I wore sweatshirts.
Relatively.
Yeah. Jackets, but nothing no big puffy marshmallow jacket.
Like so many layers.
Yeah.
So were you born there in LA?
Yeah. So I was born in LA and came here when I went to college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've been here for 8 years.
Why'd you decide to come here for college?
I know, I get that a lot. Yeah, so I decided to come here. I just wanted to go somewhere new, and I had never went to Chicago before I came here for school. I didn't even tour the school. Yeah, I was just
rolling the dice and go for it.
It just felt right. So I was like, I'll try Chicago, and I love it. So it was such a good decision.
So were you applying to a bunch of places that you've never been before, and then just...
Yeah, I think I applied to one school in California, but I was looking at Seattle, even Ithaca College, which is
I know Ithaca, New York.
Yeah. But then I don't know, everything felt right at DePaul in Chicago. So I was
vibed it out.
Yeah, I was it's in the middle, not all the way in the east. I was looking at Seattle, but I didn't get into the school there. So
I was gonna say Ithaca is a long way from California to get there. That'd be a trek.
Yeah.
To try to get out there all the time.
I don't know if there's an airport right by there, or
I think there's an airport, but it's small. I'm sure.
Yeah.
You have to take some sort of connection. It would be hours of flying time to get there. But that's interesting. So you just were you kind of landed here day one, and that was the first day that you were at the school.
Yeah. I mean, I came for orientation. And my thought of Chicago, honestly, even the Midwest, I didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even, so it was just fun to come here and kind of get the Midwest vibe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what I thought of Chicago, which is so not what it is, but I just thought of it as gray. So, and there's still actually quite a lot of park space. I mean, maybe in the winter when it's all snowy and cloudy, but
and gross. Yeah. It gets to that point where all the snow is kind of darkened, and that's kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
So when you came here, then initially, your first thoughts of the city and stuff in the school, did you have any apprehension of I should have maybe came here before I did it?
Yeah.
Were there any moments like that where you're ooh, okay?
I actually didn't have any moments like that. Yeah.
Just smooth sailing. Is that why you're still here, presumably? Right?
Yeah. Well, actually, one of the things I love so much is, LA is such a driving city. You can't get around unless you have a car.
Right.
But I love the CTA when I got here, and you could walk everywhere. You could take the train, and everything's so close to you, which I think that's what I first loved about Chicago. So that probably made me think, oh, this was a good decision,
Yeah, public transportation is huge. Yeah, because I have a lot of friends that live in LA, and I was out there for 6 months, and that's what I noticed too. It's they built the city, and then they're let's put public transportation in here afterwards.
Yeah, it's an afterthought.
Yeah, because nobody uses it.
Yeah,
some people don't even know it exists. The subway and stuff underneath the train.
I know. I honestly didn't even know there was a subway until I came here, and I was wait, LA has a subway? I
gotta go back and check that out. Yeah.
But even the bus system is so bad because they're 40 minutes apart. So if you miss a bus, you're screwed. It's an hour.
I'll just go back home and come back in 40 minutes. No, that's really nice about here. So when you went to DePaul and you started going there, you run and founded the Front Porch Concert series. And so when you were in DePaul, was that a thought that you had there? Because there are a lot of concert series, but yours is was that kind of the purpose of that?
Yeah. So I did think of it at DePaul, and I was pretty involved in the DePaul DAB, which is the DePaul Activities Planning Committee. So I would plan music events on campus, and that kind of sparked my interest in event planning and music.
Gotcha.
And then the concert series kind of just came to me as I was about to graduate, and I was what do I want to do? And then where do I want to go? And so I kind of wanted to start my own music festival. And so I thought, like, how could I do that now?
That's a lofty goal.
Yeah, I know. It's a really big goal, which like my goal has since changed.
Which, I mean, you kind of did though. You did.
And so that's kind of like the thing that I was like, how could I do it now? How could I do it at like a low cost and get started? Yeah. And so I just thought of the idea. It kind of a bunch of things came together, but I love biking in the city. Which now I'm more of a walker, but I used to like bike a lot, and I loved that you could discover new like nooks, new corners, like new businesses by biking, because you just notice more.
Right.
Like if you're in the car, you're not necessarily like you're going by too fast.
Yeah.
So like biking is like the right amount of speed where you can like kind of just pull over really quick and stop somewhere if something catches your eye.
Yeah.
And so I was like loving exploring different neighborhoods in that way, and then I was like, how could I get people, you know, exploring different neighborhoods, but then and like meeting their neighbors, and it just kind of came together to do like a Front Porch concert series.
Yeah. So when you kind of were executing the first one, how do you like pitch that to someone? Like, was it a friend that you did it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well.
Because like if you did you like a stranger, like, hey, can we use your porch?
Yeah, actually that's what I did. So really? I like literally, I walked around. There was a street by me that had a really beautiful home with a porch that I loved.
Yeah.
And I like kept on wanting them, but I never, like, they weren't home when I came. And then I was walking up the street and I saw this couple outside on their porch. And I was like, oh, I'll ask them because, you know, they're out on their porch, they're utilizing it. They probably are like, have a similar, like a front porch mentality kind of, you know, being open and in the public and out on the street. So I asked them and they said they would host, but then it was kind of funny because they ended up canceling before the first show. And then I was like, oh no, what do I do? Yeah. And so I found this other host, and they weren't even home. Like they had someone, like they were out of town last minute.
That's really trusting.
I know.
Just take it.
They had their friend come and basically, was there to like let us use their outlet.
That's it.
Yeah. And then so we ended up having the first show there, but I didn't know anyone. I even reached out to the band to play.
Oh, wow.
And just like sent them an email like asked if they're interested.
Sure.
So it was kind of all just reaching out to people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, cause you got to give a lot of credit to like the neighbors too, that are like, so do you like talk to them before you do it, or have you had any complaints about like being on the porch?
Oh yeah, we haven't had any complaints,
wow.
which is really great. Yeah. And something we do is we ask the porch hosts to, you know, invite their neighbors to the show and then also inform them about it. Yeah. Because we want the neighbors to come out and, you know, people to meet their neighbors and get the community together. And it's a great way, for the hosts to kind of meet their neighbors and have a reason to talk to them and say hi. Yeah. So like community, as you said, it's a big aspect of this. In LA, did you feel like you had a sense of like community there? Because where did you grow up in LA specifically? So I actually grew up in the Valley. Okay. So it is different because it's kind of like the suburbs here in Chicago. I was kind of far from the city, and honestly, I was in high school. I didn't know much about like the different neighborhoods within LA.
Sure.
So now it's like pretty cool to go back, and there are really cool neighborhoods in LA. It's just they're, you know, more spread out than in Chicago. It's a lot more dense. Yeah. But I forgot your question.
Oh no, I was just asking. Has community and stuff, has that always been like a important thing to you, or was that something that you maybe didn't have as much and you like wanted to facilitate at a
I think so we never had like a huge like neighborhood community.
Yeah, we didn't either.
Like when I grew up. But I did love, like I had a few like friends in the neighborhood, but as we grew older, like people moved away, and but it's something that I think since I've been here, I've like really fostered and grown and a love for like creating that kind of environment. And I think it's just something that I love to see. And so, you know, I never really like had, you know, a big community growing up that I'm like pulling from of like, you know, you always have your community of friends, family, but like of your neighborhood. So I think that's something I developed in Chicago. Yeah,
because I don't know, I can't speak for you, but for me, there wasn't like stuff like Front Porch Concerts happening in my neighborhood when I was growing up.
We didn't even have block parties.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything.
Yeah.
There wasn't any community events going on. Like you'd have to seek out things to do them rather than them being around all the time. But so with that first concert, who did you have?
Actually, the first band, so it's funny because the first host and band I actually reached out to both canceled. And
really?
I had found a new band and a new host. but
so everyone canceled.
I know on the first one, which I was like,
guys, this could be a really cool experience.
Yeah.
It's the first
but
one.
they're like so hesitant because they're like, wait, what is even? What is this?
There's
like
no
I've never.
examples to show.
Yeah. And so the first one was just one artist that I actually saw on an open mic, and I asked if he would perform. And then we even had an after show. So there's Stanley's Kitchen and Tap, which I don't think is there anymore, but it's on it's in Lincoln Park near the Sedgwick stop. And they did an after party where we had an artist play inside afterwards too. Yeah. But it ended up raining at the first show. It was cold, in June.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
But I would refuse to cancel it because I was like, it's the first show. I worked so hard. People already canceled
on me, so
I'm not canceling it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we people brought their umbrellas, and it was mostly just friends of the band and friends of my friends. But that's how we did the first show. So it was cool that it happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Learned a lot for the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was the first year you did these?
2015.
2015. Okay. So you've been doing them for 4 years now.
Yeah.
So how have you seen the change from that first one where it was almost rained out to the point of this year where, there's people giving you guys free beer for the shows and you can see on Instagram, the turnout of these shows, there's more and more people coming.
Yeah.
So how has that been for you to see it grow like that every single year?
Yeah, it's been amazing because it has been a kind of steady, slow growth, which has been really nice to kind of figure out how I want to do the shows. And that's
how do most people hear about it? Do you know? Do they tell you?
Yeah, so I'm actually not sure how most people hear about it, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot to do with the hosts and who they invite to the shows.
Okay.
My favorite way for someone to find out about the series is if they're just walking in the neighborhood and they see a concert and they're like, what's this?
I'll just stop for a minute.
Yeah. I think that's the coolest way to find out about the series because you it causes you to ask someone what's going on, and then you it's a cool, unique experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So with these, the runtime is roughly from the beginning of summer, June-ish, right, till October.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing them in the winter time, a winter series?
Yeah, I think it would be fun. Get some heaters and doing I mean, I think some music venue the Hideout Block Party, or they do a winter block party or something like that. And
people come.
I know, and I think especially if it's kind of around the start of winter when people are more spirited and in the holiday spirit, not towards the end.
Yeah, when they're all beaten down by the snow and the cold.
Yeah, so I think that would be fun to do something like that, or at least something maybe inside, but just to get the community together. So people have been to the shows, hosted, played, have an opportunity for them to get together in the winter.
Yeah. So what do you book all types of acts for this? Or is there a specific type that's? Because I'm assuming the less instruments you can play with, the easier it is.
Yeah.
At these concerts, because you don't have that much access to outlets and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, it's cool because we can actually do bigger groups. Because we just pull outlets from the porch. So either they have it on the outside, or we have an extension cord pulling power from the inside of the home.
Yeah.
But it is a lot more equipment to bring for the bands. So we usually provide a PA, and then the bands will bring all the instruments they need. But so we book all kinds of artists, and I love seeing a funk band on, the porch, or anything with horns.
Yeah, that's good.
But definitely we do, solo artists, folk artists, hip hop, all sorts. We haven't had much EDM DJ, which I feel might be more difficult.
That would be a little harder.
Yeah, with people sitting down and chilling. But if they can tone down the set or something.
Only your chill songs. Yeah. We don't want to get too hyped up here.
Yeah.
So through this though, because you have to be a big fan of music, right?
Yeah, I do love music.
So before you started doing this, have you found new bands that you like through the process of getting bands to do this?
Yeah, I found so many bands, especially when you see them live, because
That's
I think
a good point,
there's something different about, when you listen to an artist online, but when you see them live and maybe they tell some stories about their music or you kind of connect with them, then when you listen to them afterwards, you remember that time you saw them. Yeah. So there's so many artists, which I think it's so cool how much talented music there is in our city.
Yeah, there's an infinite amount of artists. Almost, it's like there's too many and not enough time.
Yeah, like you can't ever know about all of them.
Yeah, but it is true. Like it's like the whole package thing. I talk about that a lot. Like when you see a show, like you see, do you know who Bears Den are? The band?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we saw them here at Thalia Hall?
I know. I don't. I call it
whatever.
Thalia.
You know, the TH one.
Yeah.
We saw them here, and when you walk away from a show, like they were amazing. When you walk away from a show like that, it's like you want to listen to every song that they've ever had. It like makes you more of a fan. It's like the entire experience, you know? Yeah. So it is cool that you get to experience that up close and in person.
Yeah. In like a more intimate setting.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot of barriers. You don't feel like you're just like a crowd member and they're this like big band, you know. Do you do them in other spots besides Porches or just Porches?
We just do Porches.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, you know, it's the whole community aspect of it. Is when you're out on your front porch, you know, you're open to like seeing a neighbor walk by and saying hi, and so it's that kind of thing to have it open to everyone. Like if it was in a backyard, people might not feel as welcome to come into someone's backyard.
Yeah,
but the front porch is more.
I feel like you're breaking into.
I know, yeah, it's like their
something.
private property.
Yeah,
So the front porch is just more open for and welcoming.
Yeah, and we were talking about this a little bit before, but like, what are artists' reactions to this? Obviously, not the first one that canceled, but like the ones that came around eventually and did it. Like, how do they feel about the performing in sort of a more intimate setting? Do they like it?
Yeah, I think artists love it. It's definitely different from a venue show. Or the great thing too is artists don't have to do much to like promote and get people out. People just come because they're in the neighborhood, they're the host friends, and it's just a cool experience for artists to be able to see everyone's faces.
Yeah,
you know, which you can't see in like a dark venue.
Yeah,
it's in the daytime
at a bar or something.
Yeah, and to like really connect with the audience. We've had Nathan Graham, who is a local artist, and he's played like a few of our shows.
Cool.
And he like at one of the shows was noting this, that these kind of shows are becoming more popular. It's like these kind of intimate feels because it's more of an experience for the band, the artist playing, but then also the people there watching it. And I just think it creates just more like a precious moment. Yeah,
I think you get more people that are actually fans, you know, that walk away and be like, oh man, that was a great artist.
Yeah, or more like impacted or excited about the artist.
Rather than you playing in the corner of like a bar and people aren't really paying attention.
And they're like chatting. And,
they have their backs turned to you. I definitely can see that. And you threw like the biggest one, you had like PorchFest.
Yeah.
Did you do that every single year? Or this was the first year?
This was the second year, this past summer.
Okay.
Yeah, and PorchFest actually takes place in a bunch of different cities.
Oh, really?
So I found out about it once I thought of the Front Porch Concert series. I was like, I wonder if anyone else does this.
Yeah.
And they do kind of. So it's called PorchFest, and it started in Ithaca, New York, actually. Funny enough.
Yeah. You could have gone. You
I know.
Met him, or whoever started it.
Yeah. But there's a lot in Massachusetts and like all over. And it's basically, the idea is through one afternoon, a bunch of front porches host local artists. So you can walk around a neighborhood and see a bunch of different music.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's so much fun. So PorchFest has been a blast. We partner with the Lakeview Chamber of Commerce, which I actually work for the Lakeview Chamber too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so
that's how the connection started. And
so basically you have a neighborhood in Lakeview that, how many were there? 14 or something?
14 porches. And it's all within a 2-block radius of Southport Lincoln Wellington intersection.
That's really cool. So you can literally just walk.
So you can literally just walk. And you can walk in like here and then follow your ear to the next porch.
I'm trying to figure out where that one is. So what was the turnout like for that? Like, how did it go?
It was incredible. So the first year was great. I think it was really hot the first year, like 90, way high in the 90s. But people still came out. And then this past year was even more people. Like, I think we had 4,000 people come out. Yeah.
That's
it
crazy.
Was packed. And we sold beer at that event. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's such a cool experience because it's like a mini festival.
Exactly.
You know? Like a mini concert festival.
Mini neighborhood festival.
It's really cool. So going back to you though, like what was your first concert experience that you can remember?
Okay, I do remember my first concert. It's something I actually like ask people really? Sometimes. Yeah. But my first concert was Britney Spears.
It's a good one to go to.
It was a surprise. I remember.
What year do you remember this as? Was it like the Hit Me Baby One More Time tour?
Yeah,
or something?
It was early Britney.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was lots of fun and it was a surprise. But then I also remember going to like in high school, wanting to go to like a lot of venue shows, like at smaller venues, but they're all like 21 plus.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they have age restrictions.
Yeah, but they're like the all ages one. I would go to a few of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Britney Spears. I think, was she touring with like NSYNC too, or was it just her?
Okay, I don't remember. All I remember is Britney Spears, but if
so
she was,
my sister saw that concert too. I think it was way back in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think mine was a little later that I went.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know the first concert I went. I can't even remember.
Yeah, you can't.
It's hard to think back.
Yeah, maybe they all blur together.
Maybe I accidentally saw a concert at some point, or I don't know. So with all this then, like what are your future plans? Like where do you want to go from here with it?
I think with Front Porch Concerts, I want to kind of steadily grow and do something new each year and kind of see where it goes. Next year, I want to focus more on doing more merch, which I think will be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you going to sell? Like t-shirts and things like that?
Yeah, like t-shirts, blankets, like lawn chairs.
That's good. Yeah.
Things you would use at a concert or on a front porch.
For sure.
Yeah. So things like that. And then I'm hoping to expand the team a little bit as well. This past year is the first time we had volunteers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we have volunteers at each show, which is great to get people more involved.
Yeah.
And then we kind of have them. We do like monthly team meetings to talk about the series and get everyone's input. Yeah. So it's kind of a cool addition that we did this past year.
Yeah. So if people want to get involved and want to volunteer, how do they do that?
They can just email us at frontporchconcerts@gmail.com.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we're looking for more volunteers, and I was going to send an email out to our community in the spring because that's when we'll do another kickoff meeting and start for the summer series.
Nice. Do you have artists in mind that you already want to have for next year, or is it just sort of wait till next year to see?
We do have a Google form on our website where we have a lot of artists that have signed up. So cool. I'm excited.
Oh, they sign up. Yeah, that's cool.
So I do outreach, but then also we have people sign up if they're interested.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited to kind of just sit down with it and go through everyone and listen to the music because that's like a fun way to discover new artists.
Right.
But then, so I might have a few repeats back too.
Oh, cool.
Because I like to sprinkle some people in that have played past shows.
Yeah.
And especially it's fun because like the artists who have played the first year versus like if they play now, they can see the difference and it's kind of fun to have them back.
Yeah, I actually had one of the Front Porch Concert people on this podcast.
I saw actually.
Yeah. He was very awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had a couple and so yeah, what do you have any? Who was the last person that was on the very last show that you had?
Very last show. Well, we did a block party for our last show.
Oh,
so
cool.
Every fall we do the Logan Square block party, which has been happening actually since I think the second year of the series.
Okay.
And it's the same block. It's like the 2600 block of North Drake Ave in Logan Square.
Yeah.
So we had a ton of different artists perform, but we had Furious Frank. And I'm of course going to blank on everyone else.
Furious Frank is a good name to remember.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And the host of the block, or the person who lives on the block who kind of helps coordinate it, is actually in that band.
Oh, okay.
So it's really cool to have him play.
Yeah, that is. It's like literally a homecoming show. Yeah. It's almost at home.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone ever that it is their house and they also play it?
I haven't had that yet, but I've had someone who reached out that like it's their house and like their friend has a band that they would love to have them play at the porch. So that's something we are always open to when people want to host. If they know any artists that they want to play on their porch, we always look into like ask them that or kind of what genres they like.
Yeah. Super weird question. Is there any specific porches that you really want to be on? Like, have you ever seen any?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I need to get to that one.
Yes. Yeah. There's quite a few. There's like one in Pullman actually that's historic, and it's like a wraparound porch, which I love. That goes like cool. All around
get like a full band around the whole porch.
Yeah. But they're like totally all the time. I lived in Logan Square for a little bit, and the reason I wanted to move there is I went down Bernard Street, which I don't know if you've been, like Bernard between Wrightwood and Fullerton has so many gorgeous homes and gorgeous front porches. We've actually done a show on a porch over there. but yeah, I totally notice porches a lot more now. And I'm like eyeing them like, oh, I want to show on that porch.
You just have like a notebook and like a pen, like, okay.
I write the address across streets.
We'll be back. We'll be back to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So you guys have a website. What's the website?
fpconcerts.com.
Awesome. And that's where you can contact you about playing, hosting.
Yeah, volunteering too.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And you'll be coming back next year.
Yeah, we'll be back in June with PorchFest actually kicking it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. And is it going to be in Lakeview again?
Yeah, so it'll be in Lakeview again. It'd be fun to expand to other neighborhoods as well.
Where do they do it in other cities? Like what others is it a lot of cities that they do it in?
Yeah, you can look up actually online. If you look up PorchFest, it lists everywhere there's a PorchFest. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, and they happen, I think, mostly on the East Coast, but they're all over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I never would have thought of that idea.
I know. Yeah.
It is such an.
But then when you think of it, like you're like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's a simple thing to do that could draw a community together.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess before you came up with this porch idea, was there other ideas you had for concert series that you just like were nah, I'm not gonna do that?
I actually didn't have any other ideas.
You're like, this is the one, and we're gonna do it.
Yeah, and we're gonna do it.
Wow. Yeah, because usually it comes in like, oh, okay, well that'd be too hard or that's too much money.
Yeah.
And then you sort of land on the idea you want.
Well, my original idea was like a front porch music and art festival. And so like I toned down that idea.
Oh,
I think I started brainstorming like what kind of music festival I wanted to do. Okay. And then that's how it kind of started.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because music and art, that would be tough at the same time.
I know.
Yeah, because then you can't really concentrate on the music because you're looking at the art.
Yeah.
And so you landed on it.
I landed on the music.
Yeah. And I think that's why people have sort of reacted so positively. Like even on like social media and stuff, you guys have been growing steadily too.
Yeah. This summer has been awesome because we actually had Chicago Bucket List and Chicago Is My Boyfriend, which are both Instagram.
I follow them,
yeah, so they posted about us, which has like grown our Instagram followers so much, which was very cool.
Because they have a ton.
Yeah, they have so many.
Yeah. So what was it like overnight? Pretty much, you gained like a couple thousand.
It was really cool. I was actually looking at my phone and I'm like, over like 99, because it says like 99 plus, and then I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I get 1,000 followers? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, who posted this?
Yeah, and then it was like a game because you refresh and more would come, and I'm like, I'm getting more points.
Keep them coming, keep them coming. Because you guys are at over like 3,000 now.
Yeah, which is insane. Because you know what? At the start of the year, we had like 900.
Yeah.
Or the start of this summer. So just in this summer, it has grown that much.
Yeah, but I mean, that goes to show like, if people share something, it doesn't really matter unless the idea is actually cool or like something that people will actually care about. So like you getting followers, that just like solidifies the fact that people are interested in this, and like it actually is it's a cool thing. And it is, because you get to see all these artists that you might really want to see up close for free.
Yeah.
Is it free? It's free.
It's
right?
free.
Yeah.
It's free. You can't really charge people. Like,
you have a fence around the front porch. Okay. You pay $5 to get in here. So yeah, very cool. Yeah. We said the website, it's coming next year again. And do you do a certain amount of dates every single year for it?
Yeah, so each year it's changed. Like, not this past year we did, I think, 15 concerts, but the year before we did 8. So it changes, but it's mostly every Sunday except for a select few where it's like a holiday weekend or something like that where we don't have a show.
Cool. Well, it's a great thing to do in the summer too, if you want to go listen to some music on
exactly.
On a
and I think people don't usually have plans Sunday evenings, so that's kind of why we do it then. It's like, what should we do?
Right.
Let's walk
Saturday
around the neighborhood.
Night would be tougher, you know,
getting ready for work.
Yeah. But cool. All right. Well, say the website. What's the website?
www.fpconcerts.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on. It was awesome talking to you.
Of course. Thanks for having me. It's great talking to you too.